by the proper authority. Was there any citizens input, Karen? All right, move to the agenda items.
Okay, I need a motion to accept audit for 2018 to finalize it.
Make a motion to accept the audit for 2018.
I have a motion to accept the audit for 2018. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
when we get something on here, I don't want to direct you to motion to accept. The board determines whether or not we make motions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next you have sale of lot unit 1, lot number 1132. As in the work session, there was a offer of $2,400 for it. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to counter that offer at $3,000. That's a very buildable lot at a reasonable price.
Okay, we have a motion on unit 1, lot number 1132, to make a counter offer of $3,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
I'll vote yes on that, though I think that, like Mr. Cook said earlier, I think we need to consider in the future of kind of raising the price. I think that these are pretty bargain prices.
And I too will vote yes on the $3,000 counter offer, but I just purchased 2 lots on Chaffee for $5,000 apiece from private individuals. Okay, so I mean, I too believe that we are definitely going to have to reevaluate our prices here.
Well, to give people a history of why we're doing this is because we've sold some that were less than what
Yes.
we have invested into them. And this way, when we look, if we do all these at $3,000, which is about the same square footage, we're losing a little bit on number 1, but we're making up on number 2. So our loss on the books makes it where
We're still going to be upside
we're going
down.
to be upside down a little bit, but not that much.
Okay, any other discussion? I pointed because if you guys want to say something too, it's not just a board thing, Jane. All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor of proposing a counteroffer on unit 1, lot number 1132 of $3,000, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, you have sale of lot of unit 14, lot 988. As discussed, $3,000 was the offer on that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept that offer. However, I think it's slightly low, but I'll make a motion to accept that offer.
I will second that.
Now, which one did you say, James? You may have.
I think you skipped the bottom one, but 988.
988.
Okay. It's been moved that we accept the offer of $3,000 on unit 14, lot 988. Did I get a second?
Yeah.
Okay, Greg seconded. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, we need to look at the numbers going forward.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, sale of unit 14, lot 991.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept $3,000 on this lot.
It's been moved that we accept the offer of $3,000 on unit 14, lot 991. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Again, we need to consider our numbers going forward.
And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next agenda item is resolution 14-2019, road adoption.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adopt the road for maintenance.
Okay, it's been moved that we adopt the,
Let me rephrase, sir.
okay,
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 14-2019 road adoption.
okay. It's been moved, we accept resolution number 14-2019. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Attorney's reports, with the amendment, or with the, I don't know, the ballot issue, I do need pros and cons. I can't write them, I can write them, but I need registered voters and citizens to write pros and cons for the Tabor issue. So, and I need to have that before the 20th of September. So I'm asking the directors if you would,
Find volunteers.
if you want to help me, you know, I'll help you. We're at that point.
Are you saying we should not touch this?
No, you can write them as registered voters and landowners of Colorado City,
But not as directors.
but not as directors.
So there is no conflict there?
No.
I would have a conflict with that, but I will step away from that one.
Because in a
I don't
sense,
think you could write it, but you can make recommendations.
I'll step away from that.
but it will be for what goes in the blue book for your election. So that's one of the things that the attorney.
Now, do they have guidelines? It has to be at least this many words?
No,
that many?
it's just pros and cons of why this would be good for the community and cons as to why it would. So,
And when do you have to have the?
by the 20th of September.
It's supposed to be written by somebody outside, correct?
Yes, that's a property owner, just voter.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying there's a guy who knows all about this.
Okay.
Behind me.
Right behind you. Do we see any volunteers in the audience?
Wally, can we sit down and talk?
He's
for a
been
minute?
through this piece. Successfully, I might add.
By mental vote.
Okay, so next executive session, there's none scheduled. Old business, like I said, refinancing. I'll bring your figures, your proposals, your 3-tier with the meters next session. We will also have probably Deb down here that is helping, and she'll give you more legal advice and situations. After talking to lawyers at this point in time, bonds do have a window of opportunity for refinancing. They give you that like every 5 years. Yes, it is legal, you can do it. That's why we have to wait until December 1st to refinance it. Unless we do it through a bank, then we can do it sooner. And that's looking at why we went with the RFPs out to banks and not just bond.
Now, we're talking about refinance the bond, not add to it.
Yeah, we're refinancing and adding to both, and however we want to do it. But this would be the
We're talking about increasing the amount of the bond, not the bond and other financing.
we're talking about both. All three, if you want to do it, just refinancing. If you want to refinance with additional, she'll give you a little bit of all of that and the legalities and everything, because she does it on a day-to-day basis for communities all over Colorado. So that included we bring her in as an expert.
One of the things I'd like to see addressed is, Greg said a minute ago about how he runs his business. I just get, I mean, I want to know what part, if any, of the refinancing is gonna keep us from wasting almost half our water. That's $252,000 worth of water in 1 month.
And that's all these things that are.
Okay, so that's what I personally.
All those things that I gave you, that shopping list, that is to do that.
Okay.
That
But
is-
I'd like, and no disrespect meant at all, but I want somebody, you know,
Figures
who's
as to how many
Mr.
gallons
Water
do you
guy.
think this is gonna be? You know, it's a
Because-
starting point.
And some of it, guys, I understand that some of it is guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some of it is going to be guess. I do that unfortunately
Not
way
so much
too
a guess, but I know
It's a guesstimate.
there is some unforeseens, or not necessarily unforeseens, there are some things out there that challenges that we make that we are going to encounter because of what's in the ground. And until I dig it up, I cannot put a number to exactly what's there. And that's across the board. That's not just meters. The reclamation side of things has some unknowns to it or challenges that we need to verify. Getting it to an exact number, for example, with the meters, getting to an exact number of an installed cost from one neighborhood to the next is going to be substantially different. So I'm going to do my best to project those numbers for you to show you what it costs in phase one.
And that's
If we
because-
pick these neighborhoods for phase one versus phase two, the cost might be more because they're in a different neighborhood. With the reclamation side of things, I need to verify there was an old system that was used similarly. There was a decant. We're going to repurpose some equipment to accomplish this reclamation, which is covered in some of what Josh Cook is going to do to verify that we can accommodate that. But there may come down when we get a piece of equipment that was working 15 years ago, may not work now, and we got to replace it. So there's some costs in there that we don't have 100% yet.
I'll give you an example, just the Porcupine going with the internet. I put down there that it was gonna be right around 40,000. I got the estimate, Gillian, I got the estimate the other day, it's 49,000.
Plus.
Plus.
And the plus part is TBD in some cases.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question?
You, that's your.
How many water meters are in the district?
1,109 plus.
Yes.
Ish.
Okay.
We've done 13, I believe we're at 13 or 14 new homes, so it's growing, but yeah.
Okay,
Right
so
around
let's just
1,100.
take, for instance, 1,100 water meters.
Yes.
What does it cost you every month to read those water meters? How many man hours a month do you have in reading water meters?
I took an estimate and it was like 30,000 a year is what we spent.
30,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay. I worked in School District 11 as a facilities engineer. We had 74 facilities. We replaced 74 water meters at those 74 facilities. And the very first year, and they were all remote, and the very first year, the school district saved $6.5 million just because of efficiency of a meter. What's the average age of our meter in the district, Donnie?
30, I would say 30 years old. 96 is the majority.
96.
96 was the
Some-
biggest
some
boom,
middle.
so to speak.
Okay, so you're talking 30-year-old technology. You figure we have limited water source water, right? So what? I don't know. Maybe I'm not figuring out all the figures, but where's the common sense in the equation here? Where is the common sense? Greg, talked about What does the future look like? We gotta stop talking about things that were in the past. We need to look forward. This community deserves forward thinking. We need that. But it can only start here. It can only start here.
I think Ken Page had to come in tonight.
I just.
You're absolutely correct in my opinion. So,
I guess I'm I don't, if it doesn't sound right,
you're
then
absolutely
the common sense part of it has just gone right out the door.
I just want to make sure I myself, as one of the 5 directors, want to make sure we're putting the money. And I actually think that this upgrade of meters is a no-brainer. However, at the same time, I want to make sure that the money is going to the right area, because one thing that we've all noticed is that leaks are contributing a huge factor to this number. And I don't know if putting the money towards the meters is necessarily, because we are on limited finances here. If we could just fix it all, let's just fix it all. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure that the money, I myself want to make sure that the money goes to the most productive area in saving us money.
And that's what we did.
And
We
yes,
started at the bottom. We started because that's where our biggest issues were.
yes.
Was with 40, 50, 60-year-old technology in water meters. That was we only did one thing, and that's where we started. Now the infrastructure.
I appreciated your story.
And that's what I'm hoping. I mean, I'm hoping that these guys are correct on the meter part.
You know, Greg, even in the same aspect of this, in your business, if you see that you are growing, increasing, you go borrow the funds to make your business bigger and better, don't you? If you see that this is the drive.
If it is an area that returns on investment.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I was gonna go with this. So we can look at other priority items that you're going out and you're fixing a problem. Now, does it maintain itself? Does it become efficient or make you more efficient? Yes, absolutely. So when I look at it in my checklist of items, meters to me is still, I'm gonna make myself better suited to maintain in the future. I'm also gonna create a better efficiency going forward. But the difference for me between meters and say 1 or 2 other projects that are on the list is the meters are gonna give you a rebate. You're going to see your revenues change as the phases of meters goes in and you become 100%. Now you have a 100% accurate. Your billing, you know, you can take the meter side off the numerous items that be contributing to the loss. You're not only taking them off of that list, but they're also going to be paying you more money in revenue.
And also save your workforce.
And saving man hours going forward.
Well, you know, I think I've said on 4 meters. Are you talking about the ultrasonic meters here, Donnie?
I am.
Okay, let me point out a bad thing. I've got 2 reports already that these ultrasonic meters are not measuring correctly. Matter of fact, now this is hearsay, so I'll tell that right up front. I just got a report from a small town in Texas where the police actually shot a man over this same issue. What happened was the small town decided they're going to update all new meters. The meters were not reading correctly. The whole town was upset, and at one of the meetings, some little old man with a cane pointed his cane at the policeman, and the policeman shot the man. We have got no proof yet that these ultrasonics are correct. There are a number that say they are, and a number that say they are not.
Okay.
We're getting reports.
So what brand of ultrasonics?
I told you, I don't know all of these
Okay.
specific. Now,
I can produce.
there's also a
documentation.
number of things on the net saying that the ultrasonics are having issues in proper measurement. Another thing is, we don't save a dime in labor. All we're doing is shuffling that labor around.
You're using it again, that's fine, I understand that. We need meters and we need more efficiency. But I'm just saying, it's not cut and dry here. I think we need meters, but I think we need to look at the meter a little closer on their track record before we go just dive into it. Because there are reports of the ultrasonic having problems.
Well, we have bids on both. If you feel that you
And I
wanna
have
go ultrasonic or you wanna go back to the
I have
rotary.
ultrasonic meters in use today within our plants that is certified annually within our plants. They have, up to this point, have not failed the certification.
I am not
Same
saying they
exact
won't work.
technology,
Okay.
same
So-
brand. There are
Like I
numerous
said,
brands
Bill,
out
we
there. I
can-
mean, there's a lot of unknowns within these two, at this point, discrepancies that may or may not correlate to
Now-
what we're dealing with.
And then, I don't know if you guys have got it in your estimate, but we should save some man hours by less overtime.
Okay, so Bob's statement of not saving man hours is a half truth. So to me, man hours are precious in the aspect of what my guys are doing within those hours. If I have to take a week out of every month to go read meters, as opposed to going out and fixing some of these leaks, I don't know why we're arguing.
Yeah.
I can
Well, it
repurpose
should also cut down
that
on,
$30,000 a year. I can repurpose it to take care of some of these other projects.
it should also cut down on our overtime hours, correct?
Absolutely. Yes and no. I mean, there's always contributing factors to overtime with timing of events, so on and so forth, when they happen, like last night, 3:30, I get a call, you know, those factors. But yes, I can better manage the hours within the day, better, being that I'm not spread so thin in that week before or week after a meter session.
Well, hopefully this gave you an idea of some of the questions we have.
And the only other comment I'd have is that 30 years sounds really young to me, but that could just be a personal issue.
Okay, other old business.
Technology.
We have road resolution.
Bob, go ahead. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to create a road resolution or to amend the current resolution from $1,000 to $2,500 and immediately bring it back in 30 days because this goes into our rules and regulations for the public hearing. Okay.
I would second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to create or amend, whichever is the appropriate way, the resolution. Yes,
Just to make a clarification. Earlier, when we were talking about the $2,000, like over the $2,000 in road fees goes to the road grader, that's incorrect. It's actually the 25% of the $1,000 right now. The lot sales in admin, our general fund, anything over 2,000 goes over to the principal on the grader. So we're still in that I mean, we got $1,000 last month, and do we or do we not put that 25% toward principal if we are upside down?
Well, we've already stated where it goes. It goes in after the resolution and listen to the recordings.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, but he said we were taking it out of the roads, anything over 2,000 on roads.
Misspoken.
Well, and that's why I'm clarifying it, because I wanna make sure, because my entries have to go from one to the
You've
other.
already got it written down, whatever you determine there.
Yeah.
You've
Well,
got it
No,
down.
your clarification is, you're right, I remember
I'm
when we
just
were
saying we
talking.
should consider that when we have the $100,000.
But that $1,000, correct me if I'm wrong, they're gonna pay for the culvert this first time. Because
In this first initial
Yeah,
one, we
so
cannot mandate them pay for
Yeah,
that.
so that won't be.
But they're doing it just because.
They want their,
I
They
think
want
she
the
just
road
wanted
get-
clarification,
Well,
and she has more knowledge of it.
Because we've already collected $1,000 fee,
Yeah.
so I'll move it over.
Is that the expedited?
yes,
Yeah.
expedited.
Okay.
Yeah, there isn't a fee if you wanna wait 8 months to.
Okay.
So we have a motion that has been moved and seconded that we amend the current road resolution to change the expedited fee for the first half mile.
Yeah, I want to be very specific in this. The first
500
500 feet is the only
From
part of it.
1,000 to
2,500, and then after the first 500 feet, it will remain at the 1,000.
Correct.
It's at 2,000 actually. I went and printed it because I can't ever remember. 500 to 1,000 feet is 2,000, and any 1,000 over that is
Right, so that's, that second the 500 feet to 1,000 is an addition, is about,
2,000.
would it be 2,000 if you?
It says 1,000 for the first, and then the next 500 is 2,000 is what it says.
I think that's
incorrect.
Well, that's the way it's written. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
printed it off.
That's what it's doing.
We'll make that, we'll make that
Right, just
adjustment.
confirm, consult with the
Yep.
recorder.
That's what it says.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Just other discussion?
We
vote
voted
on
on
it?
it.
Okay.
No, we haven't
Okay.
voted yet. Other discussion? I'm still trying to figure out what the numbers are.
So it's $2,500, the way we're gonna set it up right now.
The first 500.
For the first 500 feet,
That's all we're changing.
and then $1,000 for every additional 500 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then we'll come back in 30 days for a public hearing.
Okay, and architectural control, Bob.
Speaking of the bringing it back in 30 days, it is not on our agenda. I specifically asked.
And I'm sorry,
it's
Bob.
being brought back. We need to get this finished because we're at a holding point on doing anything.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. That was my oversight.
All right.
What's the next part that needs to happen?
Bring it back for the public hearing.
We haven't had time to really get anything other than what we had to begin with. So I'll have to go through and review all of it and see where we're at.
All right. And last item, the audit.
Audit management letters. I think there was a miscommunication on some of what I asked for. What I'm asking for the board to retrieve was management letters. The word confidential keeps getting thrown in. These letters aren't necessarily confidential. They're letter produced with each audit. One auditor marks them and one don't. So what I'm trying to retrieve is the quote management letter from all the previous audits.
By retrieving,
I have it here. Yeah, we bring them back in here. The lawyer doesn't have them. They have to be retrieved from the auditors.
so what you are asking simply is to bring those letters back home.
We've already voted to do it, but I think there's been a misunderstanding and I wanted to clear it up. People keep telling me there are no confidential letters. They may not be confidential. It's the management letter that's included with the audits.
But why do we need those?
Just have them here so that anybody on the board or
But it's
anybody
passed,
asks.
what can we do about it?
Well, it right here shows you, if you read the one we just got, it goes back 2 years, and some of those 2 years weren't taken care of. We need to see where we're at on some of these demands by auditors.
Well, the thing is, the reason some things didn't happen is we had a change in managers, we had a change in business managers, but there's nothing there that,
We don't know that.
well, but I still think we don't need to go backwards, we need to look forward and put everything in place, and I think we're doing that. I think we've done wonders since you guys have been on board, but I think we need to look forward and say, okay, what can we do better? And how can we quit making mistakes?
I don't disagree with you as far as forward versus backward, but I do think we paid for those. They're our property. We're the ones who wrote the check to the auditors. I would at least like, whether it be Jim or whoever, to have
I guess I'm not
access
saying-
to it. I mean, my difference in how I feel about the way Bob worded it tonight is that, you know, he didn't mention releasing or anything like that, but I do think if I paid for something, I want to keep it at my house.
The ones that I asked for, I think I've got. You know, that, I think it was management letters, and Bob, you looked at them.
How
And
far-
we have them here on.
But I've only got 1 year from the previous guy.
And the thing is like, they didn't say that there were.
Yes, and he informed me that there were management letters.
Right, every year, I believe.
He didn't say every year, but his, that's another conversation.
Which, and I've got 3 of them.
From the previous audit.
Well, one from the previous auditors, one from, Sam the first year, and then one from him the next year, and then you got one now.
Yeah, all we got is one from previous.
So if they're available,
Yes.
if these letters are available,
They were
what
clear.
is the downside of us having them?
There is no downside.
There is no downside,
So
but
why don't
as,
we just do it?
as from what I've talked to them, they said that there wasn't any previous,
If
and
they're not
I
available.
don't know why.
Well, if they're not available, they're not available.
But here's the downside that I see. Here's a downside that I see. It does not stay with the board and then it's on Facebook or something else about something that was in a thing 3 years ago. That's the part that's a problem. It was for us to look at to see how can we do it better as a board, then I'm for it. But if you just want to get it and go, oh geez, come here a second, I want to show you something that was in the board minutes 3 years ago. That's where I have a problem with it. If it stays with us as a board and you go in there and look at it, I have no problem with that. It's how you use it after you got that information.
I agree, it should not be.
Well-
Resolution said they would stay here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right,
But it stays here, but the information doesn't stay here. The information can, once you copy something down, that thing can stay in that office all at once, but once you put it down and you go on Facebook, then it's out all over the community. That's my problem.
I understand.
So if you have an audit letter consecutively for 5 years, if an auditor is doing their job properly, your audit letter for 2018 versus 2017, if there was something that wasn't corrected, it should come up again.
Which it has in this,
So your most current audit letter should tell you where you're at and what corrections are or aren't.
but we don't have from the other auditor that. We had a change in auditors.
We've had this one for how many years now?
So,
Two.
2 years, 2 or 3 years.
Is this the third?
This is their third audit.
Third audit, second report.
So the report coming for 2019 will be the third from.
So, the motion on the table
there's
is.
no motion.
Just a discussion.
It's just a discussion.
It's a
We've
direction.
already directed them. I just wanted to clarify that we have not received them, and I'm not seeking just a confidence. I'm seeking the management letters.
And that's what I've asked for, and that's what I've got. And I don't have any more other than the one from the previous audit.
And that's why I said we need to double check that, because they informed me that there were yearly management letters.
I'll give him a call and see if he had anything
Okay.
else, but
Problem solved. New business.
Mr. Chairman, we need to make a correction in our minutes going forward. I stumbled across this while I was looking for something else. When we do an executive session, we have minutes. When we do our minutes, it's supposed to say that the attorney made an attestation that it was attorney-client privilege and there was no recording. Those are not in any of our minutes. We need to correct them, and according to the statute, 246402(2)D5, can't read the rest of the two letters, but anyhow, states that if it's not in there, we're supposed to have a signed note from the attorney attesting that.
If it's not in,
If it's not,
automatic.
if we haven't put it on, if she didn't put it on the recording, and we put it in the minutes that it's on the recording,
it is on your executive session.
it's not on the executive session minutes that she attested. And we got the minutes that we had the meeting, but there's supposed to be an attestation from the lawyer. So we need to retrieve the notes from her.
Because when we go into executive session, we say, okay, this is who is in the executive session with Carolyn.
Correct.
Do you want to record this?
That's not part of what I'm talking about.
See, but that is what it is.
I understand, but we did not mark it in our minutes. And when it's not in our minutes, we have to have a letter of attestation.
Okay.
Yeah, Carolyn should know how this works.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. It's on page 12 of this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and it might be that we aren't, when we go into executive session, you need to listen to that part and put it in our minutes as that part in executive session, which she hasn't done.
I understand.
So
But that's what I'm saying, just to clarify our records going forward, and what we can retrieve, that's fine. Then again, it just has to be added to our public records.
Any other new business?
Mr. Chairman, I will move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
No vote necessary.
Quick question. Clarifying, and I know
Okay.
$2,000 and you expense $15,000. And then we could take another $250 and go in the last
Tomorrow is
Double your salary,
If you would, you review that one section we call
I was done looking at it, 7, 8, so it's already covered my office. If I left that to start, I'll wear that, I'll cut my wall. I Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not, it's not producing.
Is it damned if you do or damned if you don't? So 25% executive is it ours? We initially started with well, the easy quad, all of that, that's what happened. The rest of them. And I think you and I have held well water. And all the filter water.
Oh, and that makes sense. That actually, not to me.
Right. And it's supposed to be fluid. This is pretty much all I do. It's just black fluid,
Of course, the little old lady wants me I'll do it for you.
I'm going.
Me too.
Nobody was. But,